Oftentimes, we tend to forget what is the intent of our creation. I have promised myself to run a marathon. 1 year postpartum, this is what running does to you. You're running through hardship, you're running through physical exertion. It makes you feel sort of unstoppable. I make promises to myself. If you have a friend that breaks them, are you going to trust that friend? If you don't put systems, you plan for failure. Stick to your passions, be disciplined, respect yourself, and show up for yourself. It's hard, life is hard, but you choose your heart. It's a matter of priorities and how much respect does one have for themselves. Wow, that's the golden $1 million question. For my mamas out there, you're never gonna bounce back. You're gonna bounce higher. You're never gonna get that old version of yourself. She's dead forever. You're becoming the woman that you're meant to be. That's a juicy question.
Hi Earthlings, welcome back to Life Instructions, God's Plan Edition. We talk a lot on this podcast about building a career, being fiercely independent, but today we're talking about what happens when everything shifts. You hit your career goals, you become a mother, and suddenly there's this identity you worked so hard to build that does not fit your new life anymore. I found today's guest on social media literally a week ago and immediately knew I needed her on this podcast. Douae is an engineer at Apple, a marathon runner, a high rocks finisher. She's joining us today, all over from Germany. We will not focus on her resume, even if it's super impressive, and maybe that's a subject for another edition on Shkun Hina Shkun, but today we're talking about the reality of the identity crisis that hits with motherhood. We're discussing how to drop your ego so you can finally ask for help, and discipline it takes to get out of bed at 6 a.m. when you're exhausted and have zero motivation and had a baby that didn't sleep all night. That I am so glad you're here. I'm so glad we connected, and honestly, you are a pride to us women and an amazing representation out there. So welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you a lot. Thanks a lot for this amazing introduction. I mean, I've never heard someone introduce me this way, so I'm very humbled to the core. Thank you, Umayma. Thank you for having me on your podcast. I have followed some of your episodes, and thank you for bringing a lot of perspectives together and making people talk about themselves, because I think definitely someone is going to relate out there. So thank you very much for the introduction and the invitation for the podcast. And I can't wait to go on this ride with you and talk about the topics that you want to discuss with me. I'm very open.
Let's start with you, straightforward. You have an amazing background. You're originally Moroccan. You lived in multiple countries and you're killing it as an engineer at Apple. How did all of these experiences and cultures shape who you are today?
All right, so where to start from? From Morocco. So I am Douae Nouichi. I was born in Morocco. I'm the eldest of 4 children. So that taught me responsibility early on, and to be a good example for my siblings. Not to say that my parents did not do a good job being parents, on the total opposite. So they were really keen to give us a very good childhood. I did not raise my siblings. I was just a good example for them. And that was like the sense of responsibility and where it came from initially, and the high achiever mentality. And then moving on to the family. Family was the foundation of everything. I learned early on that family and being close to people that you love and that love you unconditionally is something that is invaluable. And I valued it early on in my life, and I took it over wherever I went, all over the world and all across the world later on. So family for me was one of the main pillars of my life, and it still is. The third one is that I was part of the Scouts group. I'm not sure if you're familiar with what Scouts mean. So Scouts are this group of people that go on adventures and travel together. And I joined them very early on because my dad was convinced that the eldest has to be fearless and she has to go and be courageous and so on. And we used to go on adventures and trips and camping trips. So I would be away from home for 15 days straight at the age of 12. Wow. So it taught me this self-independence early on. And I could also say it in Moroccan. It's kashafa. Kashafa it translates to scouts, basically. And that taught me like a lot of also values around loyalty, friendship, helping others, being very compassionate with people, with the nature and so on. So that also was a very important pillar of like being in Morocco. And then at 15 years old, peak adolescence, I get the news that my dad is going to move abroad and we will have to move with him. So you can imagine stripping an adolescent basically from their friends, from the entourage that they are used to, from the comfort zone, and moving to a different country.
Yeah.
And we moved to the UAE, another Arab country, so it felt a bit familiar.
Yeah.
But it's people who have lived there can tell you like how multicultural it is. And I felt this sense of I have to make new friends. I have to adapt fast. I have to learn a new language, English, obviously, because they don't speak French there. And even Moroccan is very hard to understand. If you can really, I mean, you have been to Gulf countries and you can tell like people just get like this feeling of.
I just switched to English. It's actually easier.
That's easier, and then I had to learn English at that point. So adolescence, peak adolescence is very hard to tell an adolescent, hey, you have to make new friends. For so long I was trying to like fit in and make new friends. So this adaptability was instilled in me at a very early age, I would say, and to adapt to new environments. I went into an American school, and this is where I learned English there. And then the other part would be that the UAE is very multicultural. So I learned to accept others, no matter how different they are. Back in Morocco, everyone around you at school, everywhere in the street, everyone is Moroccan. Everyone's sharing the same background, the same culture. And then I had to move to UAE, where you have people from India, people from Pakistan, people from Middle East, and so on. And you had to feel in peace and tolerance with their backgrounds, right? This is where I got the reflection that everyone is the same, and you get something to learn from everybody around you. You just have to be humble and accept the other. And the third one was that UAE is a very fast-paced environment. You have to dream it, and it's very easy to execute it. And the country has grown and developed like super fast. And that taught me that if you can dream something, you can realize you can achieve it. And I got like so much motivation and inspiration from that. So I finished my high school there. I went to bachelor degrees where I studied electronics engineering. And at that point, I thought I want to go deeper into engineering, and I want to learn more about the industrial aspect of what I'm doing, not just the sales, which UAE is famous for. So I'm like, I gotta pursue a master's abroad. And I applied everywhere. I applied in Canada, Germany, and so on. And then I landed in Germany. That's God's plan. To be honest, it wasn't like something specific where I chose. I went for it like with my intuition. And alhamdulillah, here am I in Germany. If I would say what impacted my personality in Germany, I don't know where to start. First of all, you're away from family completely, 100%. And you have to fully rely on yourself. You get to know yourself better. You get to understand yourself better. What are your preferences? What is your personality like? And then I got introduced to something called discipline that I never knew before existed. I was running on motivation for so long, and then discipline is where you commit to something and you do it anyways. And the other thing is resilience, what I learned in Germany. Living by yourself, you get to learn to be resilient. The other thing is that there was a corona. There was Corona 2019. It hit
so
me
that happened.
At my first year in Germany, imagine.
Oh my God.
I was like, and the level of uncertainty, I'm not sure whether I can go back to my family. I'm not sure whether, how long is that gonna last? How is it gonna develop furthermore? So Corona was also one aspect of it. Working at a very fast paced environment like Apple and very demanding job, you also learned resilient there. And the motherhood that came later on also teaches you to be resilient. And the other thing is to gradually also be financially independent from my parents. That's something else that I have learned from Germany. And the idea of financial freedom and to build something for your future and be very disciplined. So I would say these are the pillars of living in Germany. Another thing I would say Germans, that I learned from Germans specifically, is that they talk less and do more. And that's a very important aspect. That was like a kind of a shift for me. Like I was coming from environments where people would talk more and do less. And here you would see people doing more and talking less.
No, I hear you. I can 100% relate. Spending half of my life in Germany. It's a school on itself, honestly.
Yes.
And it makes so much more sense to understand you and your drive, like hearing about your childhood. I was wondering this, as a matter of fact, in the morning when I was about to write a your wife, obviously a friend, a daughter, and or a sister. And I was like, I didn't ask her if she has actually siblings, and I wonder where she's positioned. And I had this prediction that you will be the eldest, so I'm good that the psychology masters helped there.
Confirmation bias there.
Yes, check.
Dopamine.
So you mentioned, obviously, those are all big shifts, especially you talking about it as an adolescent. You think your friends are your entire life. You have to give that up, build a life from scratch, and then do that again in Germany, and then do that again as a mother. So if we focus on the identity crisis, going from a face-based career in big tech that you mentioned to a first-time mom on maternity leave, it really is a massive shift. So how did you navigate that?
Yeah, the level of contrast, no one prepares you for the contrast. You are in a very fast-paced environment, very demanding, you're overachiever, you have those performance reviews, you have those feedback from your manager and so on, and then all of a sudden you get stripped of all of that. And you're home, it's slow-paced, you have to embrace the moment. You could spend, or at least I'll talk about myself personally, I would spend 14 hours caring for that baby, breastfeeding my baby from my own body, and then taking care of him, running on 2 hours of sleep, and feel unproductive at the end of the day. I would like meet my husband at the end of the day and be like, I feel like I have done nothing today, literally. And I think a lot of mothers feel this way as well. So I had to shift my perspective that this is how productivity looks like at this season of my life. So my productivity just looks different. It's not necessarily that there are no metrics in motherhood. And the first 3 months of a baby's life, you don't even get a feedback interaction. So it hits you really hard that if you don't shift your productivity definition, it then becomes hard. For that, I had to bring a different reward system into place to be comfortable with it.
Look what society did to us. Like you grew a human body in your body, like you put it to life, you give it life. You're the only one responsible after God for its existence. And you still feel unproductive at the end of the day, because also you mentioned KPIs and this external validation that we get, because we do, like you mentioned, the performance reviews, we get this constant external validation. So how did you build, like mention this new reward system for yourself at home? What does it look like?
Yeah, very interesting. So first of all, in the workplace, you would get your reward basically from this email where it's mentioned, good job, when you get a performance review, when you get a bonus and so on. And then all of a sudden, all of that is gone. So I would say I focus more on the process itself. I'm like, let's shift from the external validation of other people to finding joy in the process itself and being more present. And also the fact that God has rewarded mothers as and giving them like a higher position. So I try to remind myself of that. That gives me, I give myself more grace through that, and through remembering this, I focus more on the process itself. And marathon training has been one of the things where you show up every day. You have to show up every day and put in the work. So you focus more on the process than the end result. They say that race is a celebration of all the work that you have put in. So it shifted my mentality in that way. Another thing that I have been doing is writing the small wins of the day. So today I have, for example, nursed my baby and it did not hurt, for example. Or I have got 1 more hour of sleep, or I have got a nap in, or my baby's milestones, for example. That would be like a huge win. And then I would celebrate at the end of the day. We also celebrated every single month of... Like family found it really weird because they haven't done it. They're like, oh, you're celebrating every single month. And that's what kept me going through. Just remembering those things and giving myself grace through the process and shifting my reward system from external validation, results-based and metrics-based reward system to the process itself, enjoying the process and being present fully.
It really is the hardest job and the least rewarding in the world. If you see it just how life works, but obviously when you see it spiritually, the rank you mentioned with God, there is a reason why moms are put in that rank, and you realize you're even celebrating every month and these milestones of this child. You would think they are yours, but they're their own person and they have their own identity. So when you realize that, how did that hit you?
Oh yeah, it's very interesting when it comes to you. I would just say the story behind it. Like, how did it come to me that my child is a totally different person? It's not an extension of me, basically. Yeah, for me it was basically I would play with my child. I would give him stuffies, for example, and give him let's say some toys, and he would just ignore them completely and go to something else. I would be like, what? What am I doing here? So yeah, he does not like stuffies at all. I thought for a long time that stuffies were a children favorite, but that's not the case. So
Yeah.
what I realized early on is that children are not extensions of us, and they're coming with their own preferences, their own curiosity. I would find him curious about certain things that I wouldn't have expected, for example. And they come with their own curiosity, their own preferences, their own personality. It's not a white page. I assumed it was a white page and I can instill whatever I want, and that's not the case. So I learned that it could be both brutally heartbreaking and beautiful. Brutally heartbreaking because I know at some point my child will make his own choices. Maybe he's going to come back to me, ask me for advice, but at the end, it's his own responsibility and he will make his own
Yeah.
choices. And beautiful because I get to see and I get the privilege of seeing my child's personality unravel and help it unravel in a unique way. So
Yeah.
what's my responsibility here is to basically guide him toward what are the values, what are the foundational values, and faith also. And the other thing is to provide sort of a safe environment where he gets to discover who he is initially. I think everyone comes with their own preferences, their own personality. So it's the parents' responsibility to provide the right environment where the children can thrive and grow into who they are initially
Yeah.
in a
It's
guided,
basically,
basically, environment.
in the coaching world, you would just,
It sticks with them for so long. I
Yeah.
mean, if they
Yeah.
learn it their way and they learn it by themselves, it sticks with them. And if you
Yeah.
just instill something in someone, I'm not sure if they're fully convinced yet, if they're fully prepared to like receive that message or that
Yeah.
coaching.
Yeah. Would
I
would
think
you say you would have raised your kid differently if you weren't in Germany that first year?
as I have said earlier in the first question, it has shaped who am I currently. So I think I would have been a totally different person. I think it would have been different, definitely.
And
Yeah.
like now that you're raising a child, what is something you've realized about your own childhood or like the way you were raised? Is there a part of your inner child that motherhood has healed in any way?
Oh, I love this question. So many things. Like, I would live childhood again through my baby's eyes. I would just see him like enjoy the little things, like the bubbles popping or running on the grass. And I would be like, oh, enjoying the little things and being fully present. Also, when there are moments, of course, in babyhood, where they receive unconditional love. And when I give that unconditional love to my child, and I know deep down it's unconditional love to my child, I also receive it somehow, and I feel my parents again. I relive it through my parents giving it to me, which is really beautiful. So it's like when you're giving it, but you're receiving it at the same time, and it's amazing.
It's so beautiful.
Another one is, I would say, how to put this one in the right words, realizing that our parents lived live life for the first time, and they're allowed to make mistakes, and they're going to make mistakes as long as they as you own your mistakes as a parent. This is what matters at the end. And I mean, realizing this gave me also grace through motherhood, and that's just like any other process. You can fail, you can make mistakes, but you can reconcile those mistakes.
Yeah, as
Somehow.
long as you're aware, and it's a gorgeous realization that I actually had myself in therapy. That I always tell my brother, my mom she's just a girl. She's just a girl living life for the first time, and I notice it when like you would give them flowers or like something small, and then the way they get happy about it, it reminds you of how human they are. That they have different roles. They're not just a mother, and like it's just that one role that we know them as, and that's how we are. Like, and if we like, you have also the Apple engineer role, the mom role, the wife role, the daughter, the sister, the runner, so many hats. But if I were to ask you, who are you at the core right now? Like, how often do you get to be just like stripped from all these titles and roles and hats?
Wow, that's the golden $1 million question. Oh my God. So if you would strip me from being an Apple engineer, being a mother, being a wife, being a daughter, being a runner, I think I'm the servant of God. oftentimes we tend to forget what is the intent of our creation. And we're here to serve God and to pray for him and to thank him through really living life. I would say living life through the right intentions every time. I'm not perfect. I get caught up also through my everyday life.
Yeah.
But ideally, I would love to be the servant of God, and through my everyday actions, just remember and remind myself every single time that I am that, through motherhood phases, through being an engineer, through showing up at this podcast, for example, and delivering a message to other people. That's how I'd like to define myself.
I think that's my favorite answer so far. You said you're not perfect, neither of us is, but your discipline is really inspiring. Honestly, there are levels of being imperfect, and yours is pretty, when corporate, when they ask you in an interview, what's your weakness? And you say perfectionism, like that's how I view your imperfect being right now. So I saw a story of yours at 6 a.m. and you wrote "locked in" as if my life depends on it.
It does.
And I wanna ask you, like, how do you stay so like locked in as a new mom?
Believe me, it does. Like as a mother, I would tell you, my life depends on. My jokes apart. Jokes apart.
Yeah. I feel you, girl. I feel you. As an anxious girl, I go to the gym for everyone's safety.
Definitely, 100%. And as the mom as well. You learned that the hard way. But yeah, jokes apart, I would say I make promises to myself. For example, I'm going to show up to the gym every single day this week, right? Mm-hmm. And if I don't keep that promise to myself, I'm not going to trust myself anymore. And that's going to lower my self-confidence. If you have a friend that gives you trust and breaks them, are you going to trust that friend?
No.
Are you going to feel confident giving them tasks?
Yeah.
Are you going to feel like this friend is loyal? I don't think so. No. So if you want to build trust in yourself and confidence, discipline is where you start, basically. So yeah, I would wake up every morning. I don't feel like it, of course, but once the debate would start in my mind, I would jump out of bed.
Yeah.
Like instantly. And I think what helped with that is systems. Because if you don't put systems, you plan for failure. Instantly. So basically just preparing your clothes, for example, the night before. Telling people around you, they hold you accountable.
Yeah.
And that's something I would like to do. Let's build a community of people who want to stay disciplined and hold each other accountable. And then we can assign like accountability buddies for each other for every week, let's say. That's something that really helped me also, like telling people, for example, I would post it on Instagram, be like, hey, I'm running a half marathon next weekend and High Rocks the weekend after.
Yeah.
And I know I told everybody and I'm going to do it. For example, the marathon, this is how I announced it as well. I would just tell people out there and go for it. So I would say systems. And if you want to build confidence in yourself and respect yourself better, discipline is, the way to
truly is the highest form of self-love, and we talk about it so much like during this podcast. Just love yourself enough to show up for yourself, because that's just the answer to everything. Discipline, like action, is what drives the motivation, not the other way around. Like you cannot rely on the motivation. So life champs, these are the example. I love telling stuff in theory and then interviewing people who are actually doing it, and they come to the same thing. Do it either way. Like do it even if you don't feel like it. Have a systems in place. Have a group of people like-minded that want to go where you wanna be. And that's honestly even more impressive as a new mom, because you have every excuse to actually not give time for yourself and not push past these excuses that so many of us fall back on, even without a baby or a toddler or someone that depends on us. So when you have these moments where the baby was up all night or your body hurts and you have zero motivation, because you said there's this dialogue that starts in your head. So what gets your feet on the floor at 6 a.m.? What is the one thing that you tell yourself to actually just do it?
Yeah, so it fills my cup. It boils down to something that I do and fills my cup, because at the end, I would like to nurture my child and be the best mother that I can for my child, right? Yeah. And I want them also to stick to their passion. So my future children as well, inshallah. Stick to your passions, be disciplined, respect yourself, and show up for yourself. I mean, it's not always easy, but once you set systems into place. Once you promise yourself that I'm going to do something and stick to it, you have no idea how much self-respect you're going to have for yourself. And there's this thing about nutrition. They mention it a lot as an anecdote for nutrition. Treat your body like a temple.
Yeah.
And therefore, you're going to respect your body and, yeah, show up no matter what's going to happen. I mean, it's hard.
Yeah.
Life is hard, but you choose your heart. It's not easy. Either you're going to choose to wake up and scroll because I have been running on 2 hours of sleep and stay comfortable in my comfort zone. And it's hard because you're going to miss on your goals. Or you're going to chase your goals and it's hard because you're showing up and you're tired.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of priorities and how much respect does one have for themselves. It's a journey. People get to learn it over time.
Yeah. We talked about postpartum and how hard it can be, and you mentioned how running specifically helped you. I just love to deep dive into how this hardcore physical discipline, how did that become an anchor for your mental health?
Oh, running. Running, as you mentioned, is a hardcore activity. It's so physically demanding and exerting on your body. But ironically enough, this is where the magic lies. Why? You would ask me why. So when you run,
Yes.
when you run, you're conquering basically hardship through your run. And it somehow turns your problems into very small problems. Like it really belittles those problems. It's really interesting. Like this is where the magic lies. I have run a marathon. I have promised myself to run a marathon like 1 year postpartum, and I have done that. Alhamdulillah. Through running the marathon itself, like throughout the marathon itself, I would go one problem and another and just resolve them. And what felt like literally mountains, I had like so many things running in my mind, like mountains, literally.
Wow.
They just turned into rocks at the end of the run. I just bursted crying at the end. I remember that moment and I picture it in front of me like it was yesterday. Yeah, you just belittle those problems little by little. And that's why runners would describe, I would go for a run to have some mental clarity. This is what running does to you. You're running through hardship, you're running through physical exertion, and somehow your problems become smaller. And you're like, I can conquer this, I can conquer my problems too. It makes you feel like sort of unstoppable. But I would tell people, you have to try it to feel it.
Yeah.
And we had to decided we can bring more people with us on this journey of discovering the magic behind running. And we have founded this club recently of Beyond Miles. And that's what the name comes from. Beyond Miles is what do you discover beyond running itself, beyond the physical movements and the lessons that you learn throughout, and also the fun that you have with other people and bringing a community together. I founded it with my friend Samra recently, and we're having our first event in 2 weeks from now. Inshallah.
I love it so much. So you've taken this personal anchor and are now turning it into a community. So tell me more about the new running club you're starting. What is the mission behind it? And what do you want people to experience when they run with you?
Interesting. So we were doing some challenges and running. Basically, this is a way of how I connect with my friend. We're going for runs. And we're doing different challenges every time. For example, we'd make butter throughout our run.
Yes,
or we would go to different coffee shops, or we would try ice cream on the way, or we would beat people on Strava segments, for example, like let's go faster than them. Or different things, making ice cream, for example, that's one also. And then it's a lot of people would reach out to us and be like, can we join you? Especially the ones locally. We're talking about local run clubs. And we thought maybe we can bring more people with us on this journey and we can have fun, like going for a brunch afterwards. And it's also an opportunity to network and socialize. A lot of people are here from multicultural backgrounds and they're away from their home countries. And it's a very good opportunity to bring people together and to bond over something that is really fun. So I think that was the main purpose behind it. But Beyond Miles also has this message of what do you get out from the running itself, other than the physical, other than the fitness part of it and the physical movement. It's more the mental part. I'm doing it mostly for the mind and not for the body.
I hear that a lot. They say you want to change your body, go for a run. You want to change your life, run a marathon, because you
That's so true.
teaches you how to go through adversity and not stop, because at some point it's just your mental strength. It's not like all of our bodies are capable to run a marathon, so it's just about that person that trained also the muscle of I'm not, this hurts right now, but I am not there yet, so I'm just gonna keep pushing. And I think
100%.
that's just magic when you develop that.
100%. I would tell you, like, running through -5 Celsius, -6 Celsius in the very early morning, running on 2 hours of sleep, that teaches you something.
Yeah.
And as they say, the marathon is just a celebration. The race itself is just a celebration. But the training itself is where you discover yourself and who you are. And you build this very good relationship with yourself.
But were you a runner before being a mom?
So I have started running the first time, 2022. Wow. This is where I did my first 5K. And I did like couch to 5K. But I have to give a disclaimer to people who are following us here and listening, is that I wasn't able to run like 100 meters, 200 meters. I would get like the side stitch instantly.
Yes. Yeah.
And I would see the bus leaving and I'd be like, bye. I cannot run after you. Bye-bye. And then over time, it took me, I think, 8 weeks to run 5K, like 8 weeks of like constant training.
Yeah.
So I'm not like physically made to be a runner, but I made myself one.
Wow.
So yeah, it's just showing up. It's just showing up. And then during pregnancy, I had to stop it at 4 months because they discovered a potential risk. And they're like, you got to stop doing high impact. But it's different from one woman to the other. I saw women who exercise through their pregnancies. I was advised not to, and it absolutely ended. My pregnancy ended at 8 months, so they predicted it right. So it was a premature birth. So I would say, go with your own body, listen to your body, and it's going to teach you a lot. Maybe you can try running, and and then you learn a lot of lessons from that over time.
How about high rocks? How did you get that idea?
The high rocks, I would show up to the
Would you
gym.
also tell people what it is before, like, because many listeners don't know?
A high rocks is a combination of running as well as high intensity workouts that involve some weights and lifting. So both of these things are combined together, and they're like merged together, and it makes you kind of a hybrid. This is what they call the hybrid athlete, one who can do both and have a very good cardiovascular system.
Yeah.
So I started that. I got introduced to my friend Khulud, shout out to her from this podcast, who introduced me to her. She's like, you gotta try that. I'm like, I'm a runner. I can do that. It's easy. I mean, 8 kilometers, that's easy for someone who runs a marathon.
Yeah.
And then I show up to the simulation class, to the high rock simulation class. I was humbled on every level possible because nobody prepares you to your heart rate being 170 while you lift and you do those wall balls, 100 wall balls, and then you run afterwards. That's that's another level. And you have to do it like repeatedly, nonstop.
Oh my God.
So it's like zone 5 for the entire 1 hour and a half, 2 hours that you are doing the workout. So yeah, it takes a lot of also discipline and training and showing up and being and being humbled for quite some time until you start noticing some results. And it also helped me to rebuild my muscles after motherhood. The thing about that no one prepares you for, that after you're 30 years old, you lose a lot of your, or you start losing muscle mass as a woman. Yeah. And that's what contributes to osteoporosis later on as for us women. So I think we gotta take muscle building more seriously and not be afraid of muscles, because we can't build many anyways. We're not made to build a lot of muscles, biologically speaking. I'm no expert, but everyone who knows how a woman's body is made, they know that muscle building is really important for a woman and for her bones as well.
Yeah, and you're not going to be bulky when you lift 10 kg. Trust me, I wish that was that easy, because I would love to be bulky in the sense of having more muscles, but we don't have that level of testosterone to just get there. So it really is amazing, the feeling you must have felt, because I saw the picture at the final when you arrived with your baby, and just you must have felt so proud.
Nothing prepares you for that. I mean, I cried myself out at the finish line, and I remember the lady who handed me the medal. hugged me, and she's like, "What's wrong? What?" I'm like, "You have no idea what I saw through that run. You literally
Yeah.
see your whole life passing in front of you, especially after they tell you the wall. You hit the wall at 30 kilometer, right? And
Yeah.
then what keeps you going is your mind. It's not your legs. It's just
Yeah.
you and versus you, literally.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's at that point where I started resolving my problems one after the other, and what felt
Yeah.
like huge problems are now like little ones. They're like they almost disappeared. So yeah,
I
I was
love it.
just hugging her and crying. And this is where I met my baby at the finish line, and I'm like, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, I was able to
Alhamdulillah.
do that 1 year postpartum.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'd like to thank my husband for all of his support, because without him and also living abroad, I wouldn't
Yeah.
have done it. Like
Yeah.
carving out the time and going
Yeah.
for training while the baby is there is also, yeah,
That,
hard.
that brings us actually to our next point that I really want to talk to you about, because
Yeah.
being a first-time mom without your family nearby, that's just so incredibly hard. And like for this hyper independent, I can do it all myself that you have built throughout your entire life, like this corporate woman, sometimes asking for help feels like failing sometimes for us. So how did you break your own ego to finally actually ask for help and build your own village?
Oh, that's very important. Building your own village. No, like motherhood is not a solo project. It's not made to be
No.
a solo project. Not at all. And in our societies nowadays, and how we're taught this independence, and how isolating sometimes it could feel to
Yeah.
like raise a family abroad and so on, you feel like if you ask for help, you're not qualified enough to be a mom. And that's not the case. So the way I thought myself through it is thinking to myself, if a friend of mine was a new mother and she asked me for help, will I think any little of her? No. I will think she's a great mother. She's asking for help. She wants to do it right. These are the kind of thoughts I'm going to have. So this is where I started to ask for help where necessary, either from my husband or from my sister who lives 3 hours away, but she would come over sometimes. Basically, sometimes you had to pay for help, like
Yeah.
taking your baby to someone else who can take care of them, like and great care
Yeah.
of them. So
Yeah.
it's a question of it takes a village to raise a child. You know, this very famous saying, and it's true, because you're not just keeping a human being alive, you're building a consciousness. And to build the
Yeah.
right consciousness, you have to have people who can give also their teaching. Your child's going to observe how they're behaving with each other, is going to observe a whole society, people
Yeah.
who can trust. Just having the safety around him or her will make them feel like the world is a safe place. And having it early on is also very important. So try to find a safe environment for your child. If you're a mother who wants to have some time for herself also, so that she can be a nurturing mother, try to find the right nurturing environment and a safe environment. And that's, from my opinion, what a child or a baby needs at this age. Other than their parents, they need a safe environment where they can feel safe. And this is what their subconscious is learning at a very early stage, that the world out there is safe for me and I can trust other people.
That's
This
so
is the
powerful.
main thing to focus on. Yeah.
I love that you're, like you said, you're not just growing a child, it's consciousness, and that's
Yeah,
just such a beautiful way to put it. That's so beautiful. I know we talked and you said motherhood was on your vision board since forever. Do you think any one of us is actually really ready to be a mom? Because you said no one prepares you for this so many times that for me the question is, do you ever feel like, oh, I'm 100% ready now?
Do you feel ready to be a mother? I would
No.
say, I would be very pragmatic and say no. You can never be ready to be a mother. And the reason why, you can read 1,000 books, you can watch 1,000 videos, you can talk to your mom friends, but you will never know what is it like to feel and to feel birth, like to give birth, to raise a baby in your own belly, to nurse your own baby from your own body, to keep them alive, to give them this unconditional love. You can never know these things beforehand before you experience them. And for people who are unsure, I would just give them this anecdote. For example, do you ever feel ready to go into a university degree? 100% ready? No, but do you want it so bad? Yes.
Yeah.
So you want this thing so bad, and therefore you're going to put everything. But there are some prerequisites that are necessary, just like a university degree that you want to go for. For motherhood, also you have to have some financial prerequisites, you have to have some time prerequisites, you have to have a safe environment. I mean, there should be some prerequisites to go over the journey of motherhood, but will you know every little thing about it? No, you grow through motherhood. You're going to go through the process. So that's my idea of it. And personally, I always knew I wanted to be a mother. I always pictured myself with my husband sitting on a dinner table, 65 years old, with my children, boys and girls, with their grandchildren. I always pictured that, and having like a conversation and a good meal, like a good Moroccan meal, probably tagine or couscous or something. So yeah, personally, I always wanted to be a mom, and I think nothing prepares you to be a mother.
Yeah.
You just have to know whether you want it so bad. Yeah.
That truly hits the
spot.
spot because that's all about it. Like, you really should really want it, because no one prepares you for all the sacrifices and all the work that it is.
Yeah.
So it's like anything else in life. If you want that career, are you willing to? If you want that marathon, are you willing to put in the work? Do you
true.
want it that bad enough? But it's may God first of all grant you that vision of you, of your kids, of your grandkids, inshallah. I want you, because now you went through that journey. It's like you are perfect, capable of giving someone tips to do high rocks, to do a marathon, but also the mother hacks. I think these are what we need, the everyday hacks for new moms. Yes. Share with us some of your absolute best.
Yeah, so for my mamas out there, these hacks are gonna make you survive motherhood. No, I'm kidding. These are three things
that are gonna change your life.
These are just some tricks, I would say, that can help you along the process. I say reduce your decision making. Try to make as less decisions as possible throughout your day, because these take from your energy so much. You're gonna be sometimes overstimulated with a fussy baby, teething baby, baby that did not sleep through the night because of a gas. So there are a lot of things that come, and try to reduce the decision making. And how to do that is by putting systems into place and routines. I know with having a baby, it's very unexpected at the beginning. You try to learn their own rhythm and so on, but routines are very important for your own sanity. Like, to stay a sane mom. I would say, for example, for me, I would go for a walk in the morning, let's say, with my baby. And then afterwards, I know I'm going to come back. I'm going to put him for a nap. So I know what are the steps. I know exactly how it's going to look like. And we know, like, at bedtime, also, how does the routine look like? The second one is going to be very controversial. Be a type B mom. So what is a type B mom? A type A mom would be a very perfectionist mom who wants her house clean all the time, who wants her baby fed cleanly, who wants her baby wearing clean clothes all the time, no touching in the sand, no touching in the soil, and like sterilizing their hands all the time. For me, a type B mom has been giving me more grace. Like, if I see that my baby is touching into something, I would let him play with it, and at the end I will sterilize his hands. Yeah. If the house looks messy today, but I have other priorities, I'm going to prioritize those things, and then I'm going to plan that later. So just giving myself some grace and just chilling a bit, being a chill mom as much as I can. The third one, I would say, is to ask for help, of course, whenever necessary, and fill your cup. Because that's how you can pour in other cups. And if you're not, and don't wait until you're fully exhausted. Don't wait until you are fully drained. Just plan those little moments, those little walks, those little breaks throughout your day, whether it's a phone call with your family or your coffee that went cold long time ago. Or so many things that you can do through your day to recharge your battery, and don't plan to be drained. So these kind of things were helping at the core, I would say, to just show up as a better mom, and don't be as I never pictured myself as a selfless, exhausted mom growing up. I always wanted to be someone who also takes care of herself, because I think they are watching us, and they are learning from what we're doing. And if you are a selfless mom, they're going to be selfless later on. They're not going to prioritize themselves. They're not going to prioritize their needs. And that's not the mental health aspect that you want to teach them. You want to teach them to take care of their mental health as well. That's very important.
I truly believe so many women need to hear that, and need to hear, like, just to have permission to actually be imperfect, because like it's one thing to be a type A at work when you are not having a human being dependent on you, and it's a completely other thing to take that narrative and be like, I'm gonna be a type A mom now too, because it would just make you miserable, and you do not want to raise kids with the miserable mom. That is the worst thing that you could actually do for them. So it's so counterproductive. So every woman that thinks, I am superhero, we know you are, we know you can, but please don't be. Like, go and have that power actually somewhere else, because you are the powerhouse. You are the sun that's supposed to radiate. You are not the candle that's going to burn herself to actually
100%.
lighten others.
100%.
So that's really,
And they feel energy. Like, children really feel your energy. If you're like very stressed, they're very fussy. And it's just going to spiral into something that you can't control.
That really is beautiful. I hope many women take that away. And if you could walk into the hospital room on the exact day you gave birth, because you said no one actually prepares you for that, and look at that exhausted, terrified version of yourself, what would you tell her? Like, just one sentence?
Giving birth? Sure. After giving birth? Is that after giving birth?
Actually, during the process, because that's the scariest part.
Yeah. Wow, that's the golden question. Girl, how did you get this question? I'm gonna cry right now.
I'm saying asking for a friend, because I have so many girls where we're like 10 years of marriage and terrified to death to just go through that process. Because like we mentioned, we live in a world where there are so many people who choose to be childless, and because we are a more aware generation, we make that decision way more consciously than before, which is, I think, a good thing in a part where you're like, I'm not gonna check all the boxes that society told me to. But also as a woman, it is truly terrifying to go through that, because you have more. Before, probably people didn't know what it is like, but now with the amount of information out there, you know what kind of pain you're gonna go through. So 100%. Any success story to hear there?
100%. It's very relieving. I wouldn't call it a success story yet. I'm still in the process.
Yeah, literally, you don't know.
So if I would look at myself in the eye after giving birth, and if there's one thing I would tell myself in the hospital, it would be, you're never gonna bounce back. You're gonna bounce higher. You're never gonna get that old version of yourself. She's dead forever. You're growing into a more resilient, you're leveling up as a human being, and you're becoming the woman that you're supposed to be, or that you're meant to be.
I have shivers that I can't show.
I think that's what I'm gonna tell my postpartum self right after giving birth. I'll pat her on the shoulder and be like, hey girl, she's gone forever. Don't chase her. Because I have spent some months after giving birth chasing the old me. And that hasn't taken me anywhere, because I was just resisting who I was becoming, right? So instead of just embracing that, feeling vulnerable enough to accept that you're becoming a new human being. And that's what life is about. You're thrown challenges to grow into something that is better and to polish your personality, right? Unless you resist that change, you'll be like, no, I don't accept this.
Yeah.
That would be the message I would give myself.
That's magical. And you mentioned you thanked your husband, because without him you wouldn't have been able to run the marathon, obviously, or prepare for it. And they do say who you marry is the most important decision, more than your career. So that you'll ever make. Yeah. So how crucial has your partnership been in surviving and thriving in this season?
Yeah. So we have been married for 3 years before deciding to be parents. So we have known each other for quite some time, and engaged also for 6 months. Yeah, so that counts also. So we have known each other for quite some time to realize that we actually wanted a child. But through that partnership, I have learned that you shouldn't only look for someone who shares with you your dreams, your purposes, your your dreams, your purposes, and where do you want to be in life, and someone who encourages you, you had to look for someone who wants to be a dad, not just a father, because there's a difference between being a father, wanting children, playing around you, um, basically, yeah, giving money to those children, and basically raising those children. But being a dad is being present for them, is being a hands-on human being, is being hands-on, yeah, a dad. So that's what I feel grateful for my husband for. He has been a wonderful dad from the very beginning. So he realized we're here by ourselves in a foreign country, and he has been the number one supporter in being fully hands-on. Like from day one, he knew I was fully exhausted after giving birth, and I was going through my stage of hormonal drop. It's like the the worst hormonal drop that a woman experiences in her entire lifetime. Is even more than adolescence. So he was fully present, and he was doing every chore that a mom could possibly do while doing his PhD. So it wasn't like he was hands-free. He was having his PhD. It was like the final stages of his thesis also. So it's I feel so grateful for him. And if there's one thing I would like girls who are looking for a partner to take from this podcast, is don't just look for someone that you're going to have a good romantic life with and share like purposes and dreams with. Look for someone who you know wants to be a dad and not just a father.
Yeah.
Because that's going to also reflect on your children's personality, and they're going to build very good relationship with him. And it also trust, because what I learned, interestingly enough, is that children think that they are the same as their mother when they get born, like as babies. They think that they're one person, but the dad is the external person from which they learn safety into the world, right? So yeah, I think it was like, yeah, I don't know how to thank him, honestly. I'm speechless. Thanks a lot, Hamad, for everything.
Oh, that's so beautiful. My God grant you all everything that is beautiful in this world and hereafter, inshallah, ya Rab. And honestly, it is. You said something also very powerful for everyone, not just dads, but you have to ask yourself if you want to be a parent, not if you want to have a child, because everyone wants a cute child that looks like 100%. You and that is like the cutest 100%. Thing on earth. But do you want to be a parent? Are you willing to be a parent and everything that comes from it? So that's something truly to just let sink in. And you mentioned like postpartum, that first year of motherhood, like even with the best partners, a lot of women feel like a silent resentment because their lives change 100%. Like you said, you're no longer that person. And you said that she literally, metaphorically, like died. And then the husband's life might only change that 20%, at least during pregnancy. So did you hit that wall, and was there any uncomfortable conversations you had to have to get past it?
Okay, that's a juicy question.
It is.
So, as women, when we go out of this birth experience, we went through a lot. You feel shattered, to be honest. Just to put it very realistically here. You hold your baby in your hands, but deep down, you feel the sense of, I'm behind. So I have to work on my body. I have to work with my relationship with myself again. I have to work on my career, because you have basically to return back to your career and your work. And the fourth thing is I should have a social life, of course, as well. And you have a baby to take care of. So all of these things. And I think my husband did a great job to be a very hands-on dad. So in terms of the chores or anything that has to do with raising the child and keeping him alive and raising him well, we are doing both of our parts equally, I would say, other than the breastfeeding part, nursing part, of course. But still, I have this part where you have to work on your body, because it's you who did the pregnancy. It's you who went over the labor. Yeah. And for that part, you had to find a husband who's really supportive to give you some time to work on yourself, right? And to help you to find that time and to create that time. in your everyday life. And that's what my husband has been really supportive with, is to be like, hey, you can go for a run. When are you going for a run? He would ask, how is your marathon training going? Like, so yeah, we did have this conversation about going back to my old body and working on my fitness again, because I was running before pregnancy, and I run even some races during pregnancy at the very early months. Yeah, and he was like fully supportive, full on, and traveling with me like to other cities and taking care of the baby while I was racing. So yeah, I feel super grateful for him. For all women who feel like they are alone in this and they don't share as much responsibility with the husband and with the father in raising their child, and they feel like they're doing a lot and they are being consumed, have that conversation. It's going to help not only you, it's going to help your marriage, it's going to help your child growing up. Being a selfless mom, we have to break that pattern. We have to break this, and we have to talk more about mothers prioritizing themselves and how beneficial it is for the children.
100%. I truly couldn't agree more. I really hope people like see this as not like an excuse, because it's easy to listen to this and be like, see, my partner is not that way, or like my life is not that way, or like no, go and get yourself to that point, because it's all about communication. It's all about talking about your needs without attacking the other person, because that person, like we said, is also figuring life out and also doing this experience for the first time, and they like that have another type of pressure. So if they don't hear from you what it is actually that you need, and you establish your boundaries of this is the maximum I can do, and anything above it I will break, and I will not wait until I break, like you said. I will actually raise the flag before and be like, this is it. Like I'm breaking the pattern, because we saw it with the generations before us. It was not a great it was a lot of unlearning to be done, and a lot of
generational trauma.
But
we gotta break that cycle, I think. And for women who feel that way, have that conversation, because it's gonna help you at the end. And for men, try to listen to those kind of complaints and demands, because at the end it's helping your marriage as well. And for women, they're experiencing that for the first time as well, so we should give them some grace as mothers.
100%. And just to shift gears, I want to talk to you about the reality of wearing hijab in Germany versus how different it feels in the UAE. So you've lived in different environments. Would you, because also asking for a friend again, I'm a toddler when it comes to wearing hijab, like the first 5 months in the West, and I would
congratulations
just love to hear
first.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I really would like to congratulate you. And it's a huge, it's a courageous step. For me, it happened very naturally. I feel super gifted that the love for hijab came very early on. So I did not have to make this very conscious decision and have a battle with myself early on in life. So I saw people wearing it around me, and I reached out to mom and was like, I'm ready to wear hijab, let's go. And she was like, like, oh no, we gotta find out good clothes for you. And she wanted me to do it for long term, right? So she knew what it takes, and she wanted to make sure that I was sure about my decision. So moving on to your question, and back to your question about the difference between UAE and Germany, this is the point where God is challenging how dedicated I am to my hijab. So it wasn't early on in life. I have lived so long with hijab on my head, never questioning, do I have to remove it, or do I look better without it, or what does it mean for me? I did not question any of these beliefs. But here I am now in Germany, and I started. So what is the difference? In UAE, it's very normalized. You're blending. You see a lot of people wearing hijab around you in the university. You don't feel like you step into a room and, hey, I am representing a whole religion. Like literally. Here in Germany, on the other hand, you would talk to someone for the first time, and you feel like you're challenging the whole set of stereotypes that they have inside of their heads. And you feel like you're having a second conversation with them, other than the conversation that you're actually having. It's something that it takes a lot of energy off you. I'm talking other than the questions that you get. Sometimes you get the questions of, I would be going for a run, and then I would meet someone, say hi on the street, someone that I would see constantly as a runner. And she would ask me, why are you wearing sleeves in summer? Like, that's very hot. And sometimes when I have the energy to answer, I would enlighten them on what hijab means. But when I don't feel like it, I don't give it energy. When I feel like it's coming from a toxic place, I
Yeah.
don't interact with it. I don't. But when I feel like people are curious, I interact with it as much as I can. So at the end, hijab for me, what does it represent? It's my connection with God. And it got challenged here in Germany so many times, actually, because you feel like you're not being judged solely on your professionalism and on your expertise. You're also being looked at differently. So you're representing a whole religion basically, and you had to also fight those stereotypes. So for me, it's that connection with God that I had to realize and that I had to strengthen. So it's a constant reminder that I'm connected to God, and we're very blessed to wear it. Actually, I mean, for men, they don't get that. They walk out, and unless they consciously make this decision that I'm constantly connected to God. For us as hijabi women, we get this gift to constantly remind ourselves that we're connected to God, we're servants of God. Remember the thing that I have
Yeah.
mentioned earlier, and this is the way I like to think about it. I mean, it's challenging at times, but that's what challenges are for. They're rewarded highly by God. And alhamdulillah, I hope that it remains this way and even gets better
Yeah. Yeah.
in terms of, and also it reminds you of your values as a woman. And you're not being judged on your appearance. You don't want to come off as someone who's valued for their appearance, because if we like it or not, if we cover our hair, it hides a lot of our beauty.
Yeah.
And you learn the hard way that it's, you can rely on other things than just your beauty. It's like your
Yeah.
expertise, your knowledge, how smart you are, your personality, all these kind of things. It gives you purpose in life, I would say.
We talked earlier about it,
beautiful.
like how
Yeah.
how easier it is in other countries, in Islamic countries, where it's the norm and you're not
Yeah.
standing out and you're not looked at as the different person,
Yeah.
but how women are treated. So you want to elaborate a bit on it, how different it is?
Yeah, so we're not suppressed in those countries. Islamic women are not suppressed. And the biggest anecdote and example is I've lived in a Gulf country, UAE, and I saw women being the most privileged group there, actually. You wouldn't have to wait in queue lines at all. You would always have priority. You would find like women only parking, women only swimming pools, women only clubs. There are so many activities there for women. And I think this breaks the stereotype. So at the beginning, you would think that women, they are suppressed, but that's not the case
No.
at all.
Manifestation game is incredibly strong. We talked about vision boards and how you manifested getting a job offer right where your fiance lived, mashallah, so God's plan. Even being on this podcast was part of your vision board, like completely changing your life in such a short time. So tell my life champs, how can they use vision boards to completely transform their lives?
Oh my God. So manifestation is quite a critical topic. It's very controversial. So people
We call
think
it dua.
Dua, exactly. Manifestation is not affirmation. It's not waking up in the morning,
Yeah.
looking at myself in the mirror and saying some words that are going to go to the cloud and then things are going to be realized for my
Yeah,
life.
no.
That's not the case. So I'll talk about my life personally. I grew up with my sisters. We live in the same room. And I was always telling them, I want to work at a very fast-paced environment with very innovative minds. And I want to work in tech, of course. I did not know back then, I was probably 14, 15 years old. I did not know back then what big tech means, what kind of companies are there. I had no idea. And they would be like, wow, that's crazy. I mean, like, what? And like people who make iPhones, and I had an iPhone back then. What iPhone was it? 4S, I remember. And like people who make those devices and so on. And so I visualize it. That's what's manifestation. This is the first pillar of manifestation, is visualizing it. And the second thing is to have the intent and pray for it, right? And the third thing is to act towards it, because if you're constantly visualizing it, if you're constantly praying for that thing, you gotta put the action for things to get realized. And it's actually always on your mind, right? So years later, alhamdulillah, I got an offer from Apple. And that story also is very interesting because I used to live in Munich, and I used to work as an intern at Infineon Technologies. And back then I was still looking for like my first time job, right? After graduate, after like internship, master thesis, what am I going to do? And I received an offer from Apple. Surprisingly enough, although Apple had an office in Munich, they called me specifically for Stuttgart, where my fiance lived. So that part, I'm like, the stars aligned and things, alhamdulillah, they just meant to be. And we went on with the marriage right away. I mean, things worked out the way they are. And it was meant to be, alhamdulillah. So that's a part of manifestation. And the third one, which is crazy, is this podcast itself. One of many also. So the thing is, I was preparing my vision board for 2026. And at the beginning of the year, I was telling my husband, I really have a lot to talk about. And I hope like a lot of women can relate to. And I want someone to like host me on a podcast. And I was so desperate to the point where I'm like, why don't you open your own podcast and host me on it?
And you should, girl. You have a talent. You should. I'll be here rooting for you.
Thanks a lot. But I meant my husband open his podcast to host me. So I was just so desperate. And
I love this so much. It sounds like a meeting. Like, can you please open a podcast? I'll be guest on yours.
The level of entitlement is crazy.
As you should. Harora.
Habibti, so I had my vision board, my canvas, right?
Yeah.
And I stick a mic there as a picture. And I wrote below it, I attached another quote, which is, be afraid and do it anyways. And I did not know whether that's going to be realized or not. I did not even like, I did not search for it because I had so many things still to accomplish and I did not go after it. And then I received the invitation from you. I'm like, wow, if this thing works out, because when you get DMs on Instagram, it does not always boil into something, into reality. I'm like, if this thing works out, I'm going to freak out because I literally manifested this. Literally.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, subhanallah. So thank you so much for hosting me on this podcast. And for manifestation, if you would visualize something, I'm a very visual person, honestly. And that's why I go for vision boards. But vision boards without action are not going to boil down into anything. So vision board, make you visualize it, make you focus on that thing. And just seeing it every day makes you program your mind that I want this thing, right? So you're going to make every action possible. And you're going to harness every opportunity possible to make that thing happen. And that's what my vision board is for. And of course, with prayer, things are going to become smoother and you're going to be more efficient in your work towards what you're aiming for in life, inshallah. And I wish everyone who's listening to this podcast, you call them the life champs?
Life champs.
Yeah, I wish them all the best.
Thank you so much. Truly, that was such a powerful conversation. We started this episode talking about losing your identity, but Dua, you truly showed us that you don't just find the old you build a stronger, more disciplined version of yourself. And for everyone listening, I want to leave you with the thought, where in your life are you letting your ego stop you from doing what you truly want, from asking for help? Who can you reach out to today to build your own village? You really don't have to carry everything alone. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today.
Thanks a lot. Thank you for inviting me. Thank
you so much. So keep pushing forward. As I always say, it's magic that you used it in your vision board. Do it scared, do it messy, do it imperfect, do it anyways. And I'll see you in the next episode of Life Instructions. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.